What's going on, everybody? This is Awais back with the next part of our JavaFX Essential Training series. In the last video, I gave you an introduction about JavaFX. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to create a JavaFX application project in IntelliJ IDEA and NetBeans. Then I will explain JavaFX application structure and JavaFX application lifecycle. Okay, so let's create a new project in NetBeans. So I'm going to click on File, New Project. I'm going to select JavaFX and JavaFX application. Here you need to type your project name. You can see your location of your project and location of your project folder. So I'm going to type hello world, and then we're going to click on finish. Now NetBeans is going to generate automated code and write a program for us, and that's going to be a hello world program automatically generated by NetBeans. I'm going to run this program. Just click on this run button and let's see what's the output. So I have this window here and I'm going to click on that, and on the console you can see that it's printing hello world, right? So if I keep clicking, it's going to keep running that program. In general, a typical JavaFX application will have three major components, namely stage, scene, and nodes. So what is a stage? A stage contains all the objects of JavaFX application. It is represented by stage class of the package of javafx.stage. The primary stage is created by the platform itself. The created stage object is passed as an argument to a start method of the application class. So as you can see that over there, we have the start method which we pass in the stage, and we pass the parameter of primary stage. You have to call show method to display the content of the stage as well. So what is a scene in JavaFX? A scene represents the physical content of a JavaFX application. It contains all the content of the scene graph. The class scene of the package javafx.scene represents the scene object. So you can create a scene by initiating a scene class. You can customize the scene dimension by giving its height and width along with the root node to its constructor. So what is a node in JavaFX? Well, a node is a visual or graphical object of the scene graph. A node may contain geometrical objects such as circle, rectangle, polygons, or UI controls such as button, checkbox, text area, radio buttons, media elements such as audio, video, and image objects. This class is a superclass of all the nodes. So we have three types of nodes: a root node, branch nodes, and leaf nodes. The node with child nodes are known as branch or parent nodes. And then we have a leaf nodes. A node without child nodes is known as a leaf node. I know it's a bit confusing here, but I'm gonna explain the program in a second, and then you will understand what I mean by nodes. So it is mandatory to pass the root node to the scene graph. If a group is passed as a root, and all the nodes will be clipped to the scene, and any iteration in the size of the scene will not affect the layout of the scene. So that was the automatic generated code for us when we created the project. I'm going to delete everything here except our package, so I could rewrite the code and I will explain to you guys. So we have the package on the top, and now I'm going to be typing public. I'm going to create a class, so class hello world, and then extends application. Okay, now add a parenthesis here, sorry, curly braces, done. Okay, once you make this class, you get an error here, right? The error is because we haven't imported the library for that. So I'm gonna click here, it's gonna automatically import the library for me. Now this one, there's another error here because this is an abstract class, so it's gonna ask me implement all the abstract methods. So I click here, now I have this stage.stage being imported, and then I have this overridden method, because as you guys know that I've explained just before that every JavaFX application must extend application library or application class, right? If you control and then click on that, it's going to open that class for you guys, and you can look at it what is happening here. So we have three life cycle in JavaFX: start, stop, and init, right? So they must be overwritten by the programmer, so that's why we write here override. Let me just get rid of this exception here, we don't need that. Okay, so every Java program needs to have a main method as well. So let's add that first. So I'm gonna type public static. Now let's go to our start method, which is overriding. In our start method, we can add buttons, UI controls, images, or whatever objects you want to add. But before we add few things here and create our hello world program, I just want to show you that how it's going to look like when we run the program. So now we are going to add a piece of code in our main method, which is going to be launch. Okay, and then pass in args. In our start method, we have this parameter primary stage, right? So we can take that as primary stage, and we can call the method on that show. Okay, so now if we run the program, we should see an empty window here. So this is the empty window right here. I'm going to create a few things. I'm going to add a button here. So button, and we have to name that object. So I'm going to type new button is equal to new button, and we have created our object. Now let's go down. It's going to give me an error because I haven't added a library which controls the UI. So let's click here and then click on add JavaFX scene control button, right? So we have added that library on the top, you can see. And now let's go down here. I'm gonna add new button. I'm gonna use that object and I'm going to set text. Okay, and then here I'm going to say, let's say hello YouTube. Instead of hello world, I'm gonna change this to YouTube. We're gonna add a layout to our program. So there's different types of layouts in JavaFX, such as grid pane, stack pane. So stack pane is pretty flexible, so that's what I'm going to use. Type stack pane. Name your stack pane layout object. So I'm gonna type layout is equal to new stack pane. So we have created an object now. Next, use that layout object and type get children method. Oops. And then add that button to our layout. So I'm going to use add method, and then we need a node which is our button. So I'm going to type new button, the object name for that. Here we need to add a scene to our program now. So scene, I'm going to name it scene is equal to new. Here we pass in our layout object. Okay, and then let's come down and I'm going to type primary stage dot set scene method, and then we're going to pass in our scene object. So type scene, and that's pretty much it is, guys. So now let's run the program and let's see if we have the button there. Okay, so we have that button there. There's one more thing you could do here when you created a scene dimension. So I'm going to type comma 300 comma 300, right? And now let's run the program. As you can see that, but it's pretty flexible because it's a stack pane. But when you run the program, by default it will use this dimension 300 width, 300 height. In the start method, I'm going to add a few more codes. I'm going to add an event handler so on that button, so when we click that, it should print out something in a console. So to do that, I'm going to use my new button object dot, and the method is going to be set on action event handler and event action, right? So I'm going to use that. So type event new event handler and action event, and then add this. We don't need these things. Add curly braces, come down, And now I'm gonna click on this yellow bulb, and it's gonna ask me to add that event handler class. So let's click on that, click it again, and then we need event handler class. There's another error. It's gonna ask me to implement the abstract method, because as I told you that this must be overridden as well. So click here, it's gonna add that method for us. So I'm just going to get rid of this line. Here we could add a few things. So let's say if you wanna print out something on the console when that button get clicked. So what we can do, system.out.println, passing value hello, YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so now let's go and run the program. I'm going to expand the console a little bit. Now we have our program running. I'm going to click on that, and I can keep clicking on that, and then what it's going to do is hello YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. So that was the second part of our JavaFX Essential training series, guys. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Cheers.